Coming up at 11, we learn new details on a case happening here in eastern Kentucky after an arraignment earlier today.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. President-elect Donald Trump is threatening to impose sweeping new tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China as soon as he takes office as part of his efforts to crack down on illegal immigration and drugs. He posted that plan on social media hours after the Justice Department announced it was seeking the dismissal of 2 federal criminal cases against Trump. CBS News correspondent Christiane Benavidez reports from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Less than 2 months until Inauguration Day, Special Counsel Jack Smith moved to dismiss 2 criminal cases against President-elect Donald Trump. Trump was accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election and illegally retaining classified documents after his first administration ended. In a 6-page filing, Smith acknowledged the Justice Department and Constitution forbid the prosecution of a sitting president, but he noted that prohibition is categorical and does not turn on the gravity of the crimes charged, the strength of the government's proof, or the merits of the prosecution, which the government stands fully behind.
Jack Smith is saying even the idea, as we've quickly read this filing, even the idea that this could be hanging over the president's head for the entirety of his administration, that's the type of burden that we want to guard against.
In a social media post, Trump wrote, quote, "These cases, like all of the other cases I have been forced to go through, are empty and lawless and should never have been brought." After the announcement, a U.S. district judge granted prosecutors' requests to dismiss the election interference case. A decision in the documents case was still pending.
These prosecutions, from Jack Smith's perspective, are ending with a whimper, not a bang. And I'm sure it's a very, very personally disappointing day for Jack Smith. I suspect that if he had to do it over again, he probably wishes he had been given this mandate earlier on.
Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed Smith as special counsel in 2022 after Trump announced his 3rd run for the White House. Trump has been threatening to fire Smith as soon as he takes office in January. Christiane Benavidez, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
2 other criminal cases against President-elect Trump remain in legal limbo. His election interference case in Georgia and the so-called hush money case in New York.
Well, it's November 25th, and we had temperatures in the 50s and 60s, unseasonably warm for this time of year. Numbers for today played out like this. Made it to 64 in Hazard, as well as Jackson and Prestonsburg. Manchester made it to 63. 65 was the high in Monticello. Jonesville, Wise made it into the mid-50s, upper 50s towards Clintwood. Right now, we are seeing some rain being picked up in eastern Kentucky. As a matter of fact, it was raining here about 5 minutes ago at the TV station. It's actually still coming down. You can see it kind of close on the tower cam there. Temperatures right now are in the 50s and 60s. We have that wind staying out of the south and southwest, which is what's keeping us cool. But back behind us is a cold front. You can kind of make it out on live pinpoint Doppler radar where that rain band is. That's going to push through, keeping the rain chances in the forecast overnight. Then that front's going to push through. We're going to drop the temperatures substantially tomorrow. Next 12 hours keeps that rain chance in play. Look at that 9 o'clock temperature, 45 degrees. We'll go to 48 by noon tomorrow. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Amelia.
All right, Eric, thank you. The defense for a former Eastern Kentucky sheriff accused of killing a judge says they plan to urge for acquittal. Mickey Steins was sheriff in Letcher County when state police say he shot and killed District Court Judge Kevin Mullins in Mullins' chamber. Steins retired his post after his arrest. In court today, a not guilty plea was entered for Steins. His attorney believes they have a solid defense, part of which is based on a moment of extreme emotional disturbance. The prosecutor says it's too early to talk about motives or if he will seek the death penalty.
We do not concede that this thing is a manslaughter case. We do believe that we will put on a full defense that we will urge for an acquittal.
After all the evidence has been collected, thoroughly gone through, and a conversation with the family has been had, and get their thoughts on the process.
The judge appointed for the arraignment was a special judge for this appearance. Another judge will be named for the rest of the legal process. A Laurel County woman was charged with murder earlier this year. Today, she appeared in court. Yolanda Loami was accused of shooting her husband, Manuel Lomelli Jr., back in March. A self-defense immunity motion was under submission for ruling in the case. Lomelli's next court date is set for January 27th at 9 in the morning. A Pike County man is facing charges after he was heading to a VA clinic in Prestonsburg and reportedly threatened to shoot people there. The incident happened on Friday. Floyd County Sheriff deputies say Roberts Maynard of Belfry was heading north on US 23 in the Herald area. After performing a traffic stop, police found a handgun on Maynard. After kicking a deputy in the stomach, Maynard was charged with a slew of charges, including assault. A lottery process decided the first 36 dispensaries for medical cannabis in Kentucky today. The dispensaries were selected from regions 3 through 11. Dispensaries in regions 1 and 2, which cover the Lexington and Louisville metro regions, will be picked on December 16th. Governor Andy Beshear said they are implementing the medical cannabis business in parts for a reason.
What we saw with hemp, with all the licenses that went out, is it crashed the market, having too many individuals that were out there licensed in the very beginning. So we think that we've got it generally right.
The governor says they are aiming for products to be available to qualifying cardholders as close to January 1st as possible. There were some businesses that were selected from that announcement that are in our area. HYE Property Management LLC in Powell County, Reed KY Dispensary LLC in Pulaski and Pike counties, and Kentucky Zen LLC in Pike County. In this lottery, businesses from the same county were drawn, but only the first business selected from a county will be able to stay. And Appalachia Regional Healthcare are sharing Thanksgiving with families in Floyd County. The food bank partnered with ARH and its area food pantries today to hand out 150 food boxes to families in need ahead of Thanksgiving, hoping to connect the families most in need with all of the food to have a festive feast. Those involved say it was a blessed day of packing boxes into trunks and seeing folks leave the campus with a little hope in their eyes and food for their plates.
This time of year, there's so many people that are in need. The food prices are up. You know, it's so expensive to go to the grocery store. And, you know, just being able to help our communities, help our families have an awesome Thanksgiving dinner is so meaningful to us.
The program chose its recipients through a computer-based system that works with area pantries to decide which families would benefit most from the giving. Kentucky State Police Post 13 hosted its 7th annual Thanksgiving meal giveaway. The troopers collect the turkeys and side items and then deliver them to schools in the Post 13 counties. Each school selects 5 families who are the most in need to receive the meals. Food City Whitesburg manager Scott Huff says this time of year is about bridging the gap.
This is a tough time of year for some folks that struggle a little bit, so it's a big privilege for us to be able to be partnered with them to help give to some folks that need it. So, you know, when you see them smile, it's a big smile for us.
The food giveaway is just the first of a few holiday season donations by Kentucky State Police. Both Cram the Cruiser and Shop with a Trooper are still to come. There are some safety measures to take when you go to cook your turkeys. Elith environmentalist Caleb Anderson says turkeys should reach an internal temperature of 165 degrees. Anderson says he recommends keeping leftover turkey and other foods for 2 to 3 days.
Foodborne pathogens don't necessarily give off an odor. They may not even look different. Most of them are undetectable to the naked eye or even to your nose.
Anderson recommends reheating leftovers to an internal temperature of 165 degrees as well. 2 lucky turkeys were spared from being somebody's Thanksgiving dinner thanks to a presidential pardon from President Joe Biden. Our White House correspondent John Decker has the story.
Using his presidential pardon authority, President Biden on Monday saved 2 lucky turkeys from ending up as part of someone's Thanksgiving dinner. It's an annual White House tradition begun by George H.W. Bush, but some say actually dates all the way back to Abraham Lincoln. Monday, in his final Thanksgiving in the White House, President Biden issued presidential pardons to 2 turkeys from Minnesota.
Well, fellas, your prayer is going to be answered today. Based on your temperament and commitment to being productive members of society, I hereby pardon Peach and Blossom.
Biden told an estimated 2,500 people on the South Lawn that the 2 turkeys live by a simple motto:
Keep calm and gobble on.
The president, in his final Thanksgiving as president, also had a message for the millions of Americans set to gather with families and friends.
So happy Thanksgiving, America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Peach and Blossom will now get to live out the remainder of their lives as agriculture ambassadors at Farm America in Minnesota. The Bidens, meanwhile, will celebrate their Thanksgiving holiday with family in Nantucket, Massachusetts. At the White House, I'm John Decker.